that is why you want to understand the workflow and the process, because once you figure out something or someone's limitations, then you can start to figure out how to be able to fill in those blind spots that it's not able to cover. I realize we're coming close to time, so I want to bring it back around. I'll skip ahead a
Yeah.
little bit and say, out of all the things that we were talking about, what's one takeaway that you want someone to be able to have from this?
Uh,
Or one action you want them to take based on the fact that we've had this conversation?
I think from today's conversation, one of the key takeaways we've discussed is that you, the listeners, you've got a business, you're running a business, or you have a job and you're afraid of AI, you think it's going to take over. The truth is that you as a human being, your perspective, all the experiences you've had, your education, all these pieces mean that you can use AI to enhance things, but what you bring to the table is still incredibly important. And I
Yeah.
think when people are afraid of AI, that's it. They think that they have become unvaluable, like no longer valuable. And it's
Hmm.
actually the opposite. I believe
Yeah.
that humans are incredibly valuable and that we can use AI to increase our value, but it's not increasing AI's value per se. It's that putting things together. And so maybe the takeaway or what can you do with this next time you're on AI, or if you're not usually on AI, go to AI and think, how can we collaborate in a way that the output is my output,
Hmm.
not AI output, but my output? Because another colleague or another business owner couldn't go to a client and give them exactly what I'm going to give them, because
Yes.
I have used my unique set of skills, experience, knowledge, all of these things that, AI has helped me put it together in a really unique way, but it's still mine and I own it. Good or
Hmm.
bad, I own it. And I think that's probably the key takeaway from today. For me, the one thing we keep coming back to, right?
Hmm.
That one thing that AI is a bright-eyed recent university graduate who wants to help, but it still needs your perspective. It still needs your adult overview to really to really have an output that is highly valuable. Yeah.
I love it. I'm laughing because you brought me back to many times, but one of the most recent, I remember working at a company, and there was someone that was at that point, I want to say I was in my 40 or coming up on my 40s, and the person was like half my age, and they came in and were like, "Oh, I feel like I can do what you do." And I'm like, "Okay, good luck with that." Like, okay. You are missing so much context that the only people that say things like that are people that don't have the context.
That is
And I
completely
remember
correct.
going away on vacation. I literally gave them step by step instructions. So this is
Yeah.
when I say I know that people don't follow step by step instructions, I'm speaking from experience. I went
Yeah.
on vacation and they said, "Oh, well, I can do what he does." And when I came back, there were all these fires that had to get put out. And the response was, "Oh my God, never take vacation again." My thing is, well, wait, well, what happened? I thought you could do what I do. And it was, well, this happened. And I know you gave the instructions, but then they said this. And I was like, oh, so you discovered caveats. Okay. You discovered there's extra things that go along with it. So
Yes.
yes, brand
You
new
have to make
hires,
decisions.
there's nuance, there's
Yeah.
details that you only get from going through the actual experience. And I think that this is one of the things that I also try to explain to people when they're seasoned in whatever their industry is or their expertise is. This is where I tell them that they have more value in life than they think. And this was part of the conversation I had with the young lady that was doing the virtual assistant stuff. My thing is, based on some of the responses that you're giving me, I can tell that you've done some of the work. I can almost guarantee you that I could guess at least two or the three of the roles that you've had based on the responses that you're giving me, because I
Yes.
know that I've done some of those jobs.
Yeah.
So that gives me context to be able to give you answers based on what I know you already know.
Yeah. Exactly.
There are a wealth of people that have experience. I like in some cases where people say, well, I don't know that I could be an entrepreneur. I don't have that level of expertise. There's nothing that I'm good at that somebody would pay me for. And I just I don't believe it, because I think that there are things that we do in our lives that we just take for granted. And there are people that don't know how to do those things. And you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be more informed than the person that needs the thing. So I will say, if you don't take
Wow.
anything else from this, this is why I keep stressing understand the process and understand the workflow.
Yeah.
I'll give an example, there are what I call the weekend warriors, the
Yeah.
people that work a Monday to Friday, and they do whatever they do. But when they get out, they have 2 days to figure out how to make their lives more manageable and more enjoyable. So they have chores, they have run around to do, they've got the kids to be able to see to, they've got all the rest of these things. How are you telling me you can't run a business if you've learned how to be able to do all of those things? If you've learned how to assign chores to certain kids that, I can't give you the laundry. Last time I gave you the laundry, I had a white shirt and it came back pink. I learned my lesson from that. I won't give you that. I'll give you something that you can handle. That
Or I'll
means that
teach
you've
you how
learned
to do
how to.
laundry. Yeah.
Yes, you've learned how to delegate. You learn how to train somebody on how to do something. If
Yeah.
you know that you have to go do food shopping, but if you wait too long, you'll go to the stores and there'll be long lines. That
Yeah.
means that you figured out how to be more efficient. There are so many
Yeah.
different things that we do in our everyday life that if we figure out how to repackage that and apply it to the same principles that go into being a successful business owner, then you'll be able to actually get paid for things. So I kind of frame it as one of the best ways to be able to look at entrepreneurship is it's the act of making the inconvenient convenient.
Hmm.
So if you can identify with something as inconvenient, where someone is like, you know what, could I do it? Sure. Do I want to do it? No. And the more inconvenient it is, the more they're willing to pay you. So identify the things that someone may not want to be able to do and go, you know what, could I do that? Sure. I've identified things that I naturally do anyway. I have a rule that in my mind of leave people better than you find them. So entrepreneurship made sense for me because when I have conversations with people, a girl called me, she was annoying me. One of the first things I told her was like, you left me multiple messages. It was annoying. I was literally recording an episode and you called and didn't leave a message. So I'm calling you back to say, please stop calling me.
Yeah.
But here's how I'm going to make sure you don't call me again. I'm going to show you how to do your job better so that you don't need to call me to be able to try to sell me on something that I'm never going to buy. And by the end of the conversation, she was able to do that. So find something that is an inconvenience and figure out how to make it more convenient. And if they prioritize it enough in life, they will say, this is something that I actually want someone to help me with.
I value this.
AI is going to be able to help you do that. AI is going to be able to do the grunt work part of it that you may not want to be able to do. Um, I will also say I saw something. I want to say it was Daniel Priestley that was talking about it, and it threw me off because I was prepping for this call, and he mentioned because I also had a conversation where we were saying, well, there are going to be certain industries that aren't affected, and he was saying, people keep saying like AI is not going to affect the plumber, and he said, here's the thing that people aren't thinking about when people stop working on those jobs and they don't get new jobs to replace them, then they all go over to jobs where they say, oh, well, I could be a plumber. We're talking about supply and demand. When you have too much supply, then then the demand goes, the price for the supply goes down. So what a plumber may get paid for now won't be the same if if you have one plumber, you're going to pay that person more than if you have 500 options. So again, this is why I say when I look at things, my perspective is I'm going to find all the different pathways and then narrow it down to the one that makes the most sense for me. That is my one thing to you. Find out all the things that you could potentially do and get paid for, and then start to narrow it down to the thing that you can do. That one of the ways I explain it, what can you do on a bad day? On a
Yeah.
bad day, like it was raining, it was chilly, I was not in the mood. I am not a morning person, and I was trying to record that episode, and that phone rang, and I was just at the good part of going, I'm almost at the end of it. I was getting irritated, but I was able to get on the phone with her and give her a whole sales pitch and walk her through it to the point where she's like, oh, I hope I'll be able to use it to be able to meet my goals. I was like, I can guarantee you, if you used it the way that I told you to use it, you'll not only meet your goals, you'll be able to exceed your goals. Because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, creatures of habit, what people do and what they, how they are. And if you use these things in the right situations, you'll be able to do that. So if you can identify the things that come natural to you, because I realize my mind works differently. I'm just odd. And because I got that early start to advertising and marketing and got to see it from so many different ways, I don't have to work hard at that part. I spent
Mm.
like I got introduced to it when I was like 7 years old. I'm 52. I've been looking at this for so long that like
Yeah.
I don't have to work hard to be able to know what I'm looking at. So it's easier for me to process it. There's something in your life that you're able to do the same thing with. Start looking at those things and start looking at ways to be able to monetize it. And it may seem like a struggle for you to be able to identify what it is, because if you did, you probably would have already done something with it. But AI
Yeah.
can help you identify it and it can help you map it out. And then once you're able to map it out, then it goes back to what I was saying: impossible, possible, plausible, foregone conclusion. So
Yes.
if you can take something that seems impossible and find out that it's actually a talent or a skill that you can leverage, and it's something that you can do on an off day, then you may have a business model. You may have something that you can
Yeah.
do.
Do
And
it.
AI is set up to be able to help you identify that and then figure out how you can actually do it in a way that it can at least give you the ideas, and then again, garbage in, garbage out. So if you give it the context of, I want to do this, but I want to do it this way, then it can give you a valuable output.
Yeah.
If you just say, I want to figure out how to be able to do this, it will tell you how to do something, but may not give it to you in a way that will be agreeable for you. I
Yeah.
know my principles. I know that I'm not someone that wants to take advantage of people. I would rather turn somebody away than take their money if I know that I can't deliver the results. I know
Yeah.
there are plenty of people that don't feel that way.
No. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely
Go
right.
with them if that's what you want to be able to do. But I
Yeah.
am not going to take your money in that situation, because I base my life on, I need to be able to sleep at night, and I want to leave people better than I found them. So
Yeah.
that's how I view things. Identify your personality, where your scruples are, where you start and stop. Have AI help you organize those thoughts. And if you can organize those thoughts, then it can help you identify what that workflow looks like. Whatever
Yeah.
world it is that you want to operate in, it
Yeah.
can tell you what some of the steps are. And then you start to fill in the blanks of the things that it doesn't know. This is who I am. This is what my principles are. This is how I go about doing things. This is my perspective. When I only wanted to give me things that are relevant to the way that I think, I start there. When I want to gather information from all over the world, then I say, I want you to start wide, and then we'll narrow it down from there. If I want to start narrow and make sure that I'm staying focused on the talking points and things that I'm using, then I give it the context and say, we want to stay in this lane. Those are some filters that if you add that in, you'll be able to get to the results that you want faster, more efficiently, and more accurately. I'll bring it back to the promise. By the
Yes.
end of this episode, listeners will understand how AI is changing the landscape of everyday work across industries, from strategy to execution, and how they can evolve their role, their value, and their visibility without losing their identity.
Yeah.
I know we've seemed like we've gone in different directions and talked about things where, it may not seem in context. This is not one of those things where you listen to it once. I want people to know that there are going to be certain parts that make sense to them now. I also want you to be able to come back and listen to it when you have more context, because then you'll catch more of the nuanced things that we're talking about. As you start to use AI, you'll start to identify new things. Come back and you'll be able to identify new ways to be able to use it and new things that you can do with it. So hopefully we answered those questions and lived up to that promise. I will also give a teaser and say, this week we covered that portion, but next week we're going to be talking about who gets to write the new rules and why it should include you, which
I love it.
this is where I get to fall back, because Melody Ann has paid more attention to these things than I do. And she's been keeping track of what's been going on, where I just kind of give it my own rules that I live by. And I realize I'm a nut. So my rules are different than a lot of people's, and I am perfectly fine staying in my lane. But that is going to be the upcoming episode, and I am looking forward to it. And I hope you're looking forward to it as well.
I am.
Before I do anything else, is there anything that you want to cover? Anything that you have coming up? Any closing statements that you want to be able to cover? Because I know I completely threw everything off with a tangent.
No, it's all good. I think, just back to our key takeaway,
Hmm.
AI is there for you to use to enhance your own life, whether it's your personal life, your work life. It's not there to give you all the answers. It's not there to take your job. It is there for you to use it to enhance what you want to enhance, but the output is always your responsibility. So go ahead and use it, understand your values and use it by them, and allow it to save you time, allow it to enhance your life, and enjoy the enhancements, whatever that lands up being for you.
I will add nothing.
So,
I will say thank you so much. And like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next time.